Minecrafters and Redstoners. I'm Natanis Likens, and today we are going to do a tutorial on a dispenser auto crafter. Yep, that's right. I'm going to show you how to build this dispenser auto crafter that is actually behind me. However, before we really get started on that, we have lost another member of our community, so I want to take a few minutes to have a moment of silence for the loss of Mumbo Jumbo, the Redstoner. We lost him the other day. So Mumbo Jumbo, the Redstoner, if you'd be so kind as to give a moment of silence for him. Yeah. So if you aren't aware, that's like a little joke. He said in his video the other day that somebody said hello to him and they love his building, not his redstone. So that's just a little joke towards Mumbo Jumbo. I can't say enough about that because honestly, if it weren't for him and his videos like 11 years ago, I wouldn't know Redstone today. Granted, I don't think I know it as well as he does, but if it weren't for Mumbo Jumbo and his Redstone tutorials, I wouldn't be making my own tutorials or even my own videos if it weren't for him. So, let's get into this a little bit. So there's a few things we kind of need to talk about first before we really dive into the tutorial. And I'm not going to do this like other YouTubers have done, where they just start up a video and you see a time lapse of them building it out. I'm going to give you some knowledge about it, and we are going to go over some of the key functions of it. So without further ado, let's dive into some of the things you need to know in order to actually use an auto crafter for auto crafting whatever it is that you want to auto craft. Does that make sense, or did I go too far with the autocraft? Alright, so first things first, we need to talk about the autocrafter a little bit. If you aren't familiar with how this thing works, we are going to go over it slightly. Now, in my original video, I went over this in full detail. We don't need to do that for this. I've already got one video out that you can go and see where I talk a little bit about it. We're going to go into a little bit more detail here right now. So first things first, you see this side of the texture. So this is actually what we're going to call the face of it. This is where the items actually get spit out from, which is cool because this means we don't need a dropper set up in order to spit the items out. In fact, if I just press this button right here, you can see that it will spit out the items from that. So we don't need any kind of dropper set up in order to get the items from the crafter to wherever we are storing them. And there's a bunch of things going on with it that we could go over. Again, I already kind of covered some of that stuff, including how it actually works, how items get into it. We don't need to cover that. Instead, we do need to talk about some of the redstone, which I've got set up way over there. So let's go over to that right now. Okay, so first things first, we got to talk a little bit about how certain redstone contraptions work. What you see behind me is a counter of sorts. So what this does is it counts and tells you where a given item is in the system in order to send out a redstone signal in a specific location. So we can activate things in a sequence is basically what this is going to do for us. However, there is one major problem with it, and that's what we need to go over right now. And that is that this thing has to be facing a very specific way, and the redstone needs to be activated at a specific angle. So you got to keep this stuff in mind when you are actually building this. So first things first, what direction do we need this to face? Well, it helps if I pull the screen up. As you can see over there where it says facing, if you look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lines down, you see facing right underneath chunk and block and the XYZ coordinates. It says that we are facing south. So you do need to make sure that when you set this up, you have it set up in a south to north facing direction. Now, with that being said, it doesn't really matter which direction you're making this thing work. The only thing that matters is which direction it's actually going. So if it's going north to south or south to north, it doesn't matter. But it has to be one of those two. It will not work if you've got it facing east to west. And we're going to go over that a little bit here because there's another problem with that, and that is how you activate it. With that being said, originally when I made this in the snapshot, I forget which one, we had a little bit more quirkiness with the redstone. You don't have to worry about that now. In fact, these last three over here, I could have combined into one. But yeah, some of the redstone has changed between the snapshot and the actual release. Which, by the way, we are in 1.21 as far as this creative world is concerned. So first and foremost, I'm going to show you how this is supposed to work and what is actually going on here. So with these two here, if we got the redstone back here where it activates, so if we click on that note block, this is going to activate the thing. But you're going to notice on the back side, this is not going to behave properly. You need the redstone to be activated in a certain spot because we get some funky things going on. But let me go ahead and show you. So you see the light here is going to show us where this slime ball is at any given time. So when that light comes on, you know that the snowball, that's the slime ball, is located. And we can click this a couple of times and you can see it's just going to step through all of these and show us exactly where it is. And notice how it just got shot around and all the way back. That is perfectly fine. You can do it from that side if you want to take your signal out from here. Though I would suggest changing it a little bit because that means that our machine is going to be set up this way instead of this way. And that is very important to remember which way you're facing it, because depending on which way you're facing it means that you're going to have the redstone set up differently. And it's just going to create a lot of confusion if you don't pay attention to exactly how you've got it set up. Now, we can come over here and I can demonstrate it again coming from this direction, and you'll see that the redstone behaves slightly different on this side of it. See that? It's going on this side, whereas if we click this one, it's clicking on that side. So depending on which side you're activating the redstone is going to dictate which side you're actually getting a signal from. So for instance, on this side here, our machine's going to have to be set up on that side. And more specifically, because of the way it's counting, it's actually going to have to be over here. Hopefully that makes sense, and you see what I'm getting at with that. Now, the other thing is, let's go ahead and click this till we get it to swoop around, go back to where it came from. Okay, so when I click this note block this time, it should end up in this spot right here. That's where it should stop. However, because it is redstone and redstone has some quirky behaviors, it's actually going to stop here on this block. That is not a huge problem, but it's something we don't want. Okay, maybe it's not going to do it. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, it skipped this one and went straight to there. For our purposes, that is not good. We need it to actually stop right there. So this is a setup that is 10 droppers long with the redstone, and back here we have it at 11. And with 11, you're going to see that we are going to get it in this position here, which is what we need. And I've already got it back here, so we can click this a couple of times. You can see that it's going to loop around and stop exactly where we actually want it. Remember, we want the signal to be right here. We really don't care about the signal coming out of that one. That's just there to show you that the signal is not coming out. So let's click this. And of course it proves me wrong and goes right there. Okay, yeah. That's weird. I just realized it did it here too. Oh no, that's a different setup. Interesting. Well, either way, you can see that does work, and it does matter as to which way you're activating the redstone. Now, the other thing is paying attention to which way you have your droppers set up. You will notice that I have two setups here that are back to back. This one has the redstone going in a counterclockwise direction from where we are facing, so the droppers are feeding this way, across, and then back down this way, and then over in a counterclockwise setup. This one, on the other hand, is set up to where it is going clockwise. So we're going up this way, over, and then back down. And you'll notice that the behavior is pretty much the exact same, only we are going in a different direction. And again, if we were using this setup to build our machine, that means that our redstone will be over here. Does that make sense? Have I lost you yet? Hopefully I haven't lost you. Let's continue because we've got a little bit more to talk about with how this is facing before we get to actually building it. And the last thing is, remember I said that you cannot have it facing east to west. Well, here we go. We got a setup here just to kind of demonstrate this and show you that it does not actually work in the same manner. It's going to look like it works at first, but as we get around to this corner, you're going to see it does some strange things here again. And notice right there, it actually skipped a block. Okay, so we're gonna go around the corner here. Oh look, it skipped over this one. That's weird. Went down to there, and now we're back over on this side. And I'm gonna do this again. Watch where we have the glass block. Okay, it's gonna skip that one. See? Did you see it? Here, let me do this the easy way. We're just gonna take it out of there. We're gonna put it right in here. So right now we've got this one lit up, and that one is not. Watch what happens again. It is going to skip where that glass block is. See it? Did you see it? I hope you saw it. So yeah, east to west, not going to be good. You have to set it up so that it's facing south to north or north to south, whichever. And from there, we are going to show how to build this and how to set it up in order to get your very own dispenser auto crafting setup. Factory, whatever you want to call it. Are you ready? Good, because I'm not. Before we begin, we're going to gather up a few different materials. And all of this that I have right here is kind of an approximation of what you will need. Some of these you may need more of, some you may need less of. It's just going to depend on how you go about setting up certain things. For example, we did not put a collection point in what we are about to make. So wherever your collection is, you're going to have a different amount of chests than what I have right here. These are just the chests to get the auto crafting dispenser setup made. If you need more than that for your storage, you know, that's on you and wherever you want that to be. If your storage system has some kind of special setup, you're going to have more in there. This, what I have here, is just a bare bones, basic amount of stuff that you should be able to use in order to make the entire contraption or the entire machine. So let's go over it real quick. So I've got 1 stack of redstone and 38 redstone repeaters, 31 droppers, 27 observers, 33 redstone torches, 32 hoppers, 23 redstone comparators, 22 chests, 12 sticky pistons, 11 redstone lamps, 11 blocks of redstone, 3 barrels, 2 pistons, 2 crafters, and 1 note block. Now, this does not include your building blocks. I would say have probably about 3 or 4 stacks of blocks for your building, but this should get you started and able to make what we're about to go into. So without further ado, let's dive into making this contraption. Now that you have your location and all of your resources, we are going to go ahead and start building this. So what I want you to do is come to this corner right here. You're going to put a dropper right there facing towards us, and then we are going to come over here and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 that way. You're going to have this one turn around the corner, and then we are going to fill in this area right here with droppers just the same. Okay, from here we're going to take our comparators and we're just going to line right through here with them. Now you should have something that looks like this. And then we are going to take 2 repeaters, put them right here so that they are facing over that way. And then we are going to take our building block and just put it right in front of all of these comparators. Now, we're going to take the droppers and we're going to put them right alongside this. So we have a line of droppers facing that way. Now, to finish off this section right here, we're going to put our auto crafter facing that way, and then we are going to take a line of hoppers just feeding into it right through here. And that is going to be the bottom layer of this finish. Now, we are going to come over the top of these droppers here. We're going to come up 2 blocks, and we are just going to make a line of building blocks right here. This is only temporary. We are going to be removing these once we have all of our observers in. So we're going to take our observers, and we are just going to go through here and line them up this way. That way they are facing up towards the sky, and that is what they are looking for. They are going to be sending their signal down to the droppers. Now we can go ahead and remove all of this, as it was only temporary, except for 1 block right here. We're going to come off of this. We're going to come out 3. You can get rid of that block now. We're going to take an observer, delete that middle block, and we are going to have it facing out that way so that it is now sending its signal into this building block right here. On the end of that, we do need to take our note block, which I seem to have gotten rid of, and put it right on the end there. Now, we're going to take some redstone dust and just cover the top of all of these observers. Just like so. Now, it's at this point you can go ahead and test out whether or not all of this is set up correctly. We're going to put a slime ball right there. It doesn't have to be a slime ball. It can be any one single item that you want. But most importantly, it needs to be just one. I prefer using a slime ball because it's the closest thing we have to an actual ball for this type of build. So we can go ahead and test that and watch to see if our comparators are lined up, are lighting up in the specific direction that we need them to. And as you can see, it is working just fine. Yep, that is working just fine. So the next thing we need to do is we need to go on top of these hoppers right here. We're just going to put a line of building blocks across these. Just like so. And then we are going to take our hoppers and we're going to come off of these droppers with 2 hoppers feeding down into them. And that's just going to go all the way across this. Now that we are here, we're going to take another set of comparators and we are just going to put it on top of these building blocks right here. And you should be at this stage right now. We can get rid of these. Don't need that. But this is what we have so far. And again, we can go and test this, but there is no point at this particular moment in time. So, note block, we're done with the note block. Need the redstone torch now. So we're going to come off of this block and we're going to go up 1. You can delete that, and we're just going to line in front of these. And then you are going to take your redstone torches and put it all along the back here. So basically what this is going to do is anytime that this hopper is empty, it's going to activate, it's going to deactivate this comparator, which then allows this torch to turn on. This is going to be part of our detection system to let us know whether or not we are running out of items, because we do need to shut the system off if we do run out of something. With this setup that we are going for, you will never actually run out, but it is better safe than sorry in this kind of instance. So the system will turn itself off and let you know that, hey, we need more of whatever this item is that I'm running low on, or that I think I'm running low on. As you can see, the dropper and the hopper right above it will be full. Unfortunately, there's no other way to take a redstone signal off of those to let us know, hey, we need to fill up this item. So from here, the next thing we can do is go ahead and put in our chest all along here. All you really need is one single double chest on all of these. You don't need to go as far as having a huge hopper chest line to fill in all of these. For this particular one, we are only doing just one. You can do a lot more if you so desire. Okay, so on top of these redstone torches, we are going to put another line of blocks and a series of torches on top of that. Now, these are going to be part of our system that let us know, hey, we are out of a given item. So we are just going to take some sticky pistons and put them right across all of these torches right here. And then we are also going to take redstone blocks and line all of these. Just like that. Again, this is going to be part of our detection system. So we are going to come out one block from where these redstone blocks are, and we are going to put in these lamps. Again, for the 100th time within the last few seconds, these are going to let us know if we are full on a given item. We will worry about the display later. For now, let's continue on with building the rest of this up. I need a little bit of a breather and some water, so give me a few seconds and I'll be right back to continue this. Okay, now that we've reached this stage, there's a couple of things I would suggest doing. First and foremost, labeling all of your chests and exactly where items are. That way you know exactly which items need to be filled and which items you are good with. In this case, because we are making dispensers, we got cobblestone in these boxes. Bows are going to be here, cobblestone in these two, redstone dust in this one, and then cobblestone in the final one. And the same goes for this, only we are going to do it in reverse order. The order is actually the same, but we have to do it in reverse because we are now looking at it from a different angle. So once you got that set up, it'll let you know any given time which one of these you are actually low on. With that being said, we can go ahead and test it, which we are going to do real quick to show you a few things that this will do. I only put enough bows in there so that we can make 5 dispensers, so let's just go ahead and demonstrate how this actually works at this given time. So I hit this button right here, you'll see that that comparator has turned on, turning on this redstone, which has activated our crafter. You can see the crafter is activated right there. However, the crafter was empty, so it's not going to make anything. So now if I come over here, I hit the button, we go to the first slot here, which would have activated that dropper, which has spat out a piece of cobblestone. And because of the way this fills, it will fill from left to right, top to bottom. So we're going to count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And each one of these droppers represents a location. Starting here is 1, on the end here is 9. So anytime one of these activates, it is going to drop its item into the hoppers. Now, this is important for later on when you are setting up your redstone clock. Because if the redstone clock is running too fast, it means the items are not going to get into the crafter in the order that you have it set up. So you do need to run the machine a little bit slower than normal. You can set up something that would run fast enough, but then the problem becomes the hopper speed with feeding in the bows. I do recommend having this very, very slow in comparison to other possible machines. Now, let's just go ahead and make ourselves a couple of dispensers. And I am going to get to this last one here. Okay, so all of them have activated. We should see that we have a dispenser ready to craft. See how that works? It dispenses each one of these in a specific order to the point that we have created the recipe for making an item. So now then, I can come over here, and that would have crafted it. As you can see, it's no longer here, and we have a dispenser there. Now, as I stated, we only put enough bows in here to make 5 of these. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to make 5 of these real quick. I did that a little bit fast. It may have, nope, it worked just fine. So that's one, or actually that's the second one. I heard a double click there, so let's go over here and check. Make sure, yep, we are still good. Got 2 there. And you will see that this light has now turned off because we have used up all of our bows that were in that hopper, and this hopper is still filled. Now, we haven't set up the system that would automatically shut this off just yet, but this is going to show you that because of the way we have set it up, oh no, we're out of bows. That is why we have this set up the way that we do. And as you can see, that's interesting. There's a 5. Let's take an extra minute before we go any further and just do this again. So we got 5 there. Okay, so that should have all of this in here, right? And that should activate. We should have a total of 6 in there now. Okay, 6. That should be 7. It's because we're going too quick. So 7. Like I said, this is very touchy. It does need to run at a certain speed, and we are making it go a little bit too quick. So that should be 8. And this is getting bud powered again somehow. That's interesting. Interesting. Okay, so there it is. It's in there. Like I said, this is very clear evidence that it does need to run a little bit slower, and I have been spamming this a little bit too quick. Yeah, a little bit too quick. So there's that. And then 2 more clicks and we should have 10 in there. There you go. That's pure evidence of what I was saying, that this system does need to run a little bit slower than you would think. It's not going to be running as quick as some others. That's just a good example of what not to do. So let's continue on with the build, and I'll be right back to show you what we need to do next. Alright, round 2, because I messed up the first one very, very badly. So, we are going to go on top of these redstone torches right here, and we are going to put a layer of our building blocks. And off those blocks, we are going to put redstone torches, just like so. Now we're going to take our building blocks again, and we are going to come out to right here. And then we're going to come out 2 from that. We're going to put a repeater right there on that one, and then we are just going to line redstone along here. This line will be used later to serve as an auto shutoff in case any one item is low. For instance, in this particular situation, we are low on bows. And this will be an easy way to also identify which one you need to fill up. Bows we are not going to manually fill up. We're going to build our own little auto crafter for bows. So on top of this torch right here, you're going to place a block there. We're going to put another torch right here and a block on top of that along with a torch right here. So then off of this block, we're going to come out 2, and then we are going to come out 4 blocks here. We should be just behind that repeater, and then we are going to come out another 4 blocks here. Right here in the middle, I want you to put a block right there. We're going to put a torch on this and another repeater right here, and then you are just going to line this together. However, skip the spot for now because we need to build some redstone up in order to get our other pieces activated. We don't want this firing off signals while we are building this. So now we are going to switch gears here with a couple of other things. I don't need that, don't need this, I need this. I do. Oh, we got 2 of those. Okay. So we are going to put a sticky piston right here facing up. It is going to activate where you are going to put a slime block on top of that, redstone block on top of this, and right here we are going to put an immovable block. So I am using obsidian right here. I do actually need the repeater. We're going to put a single repeater right there, and coming out of this repeater we need to put a sticky piston. And on the sticky piston, we need an observer that is reading off in that direction. So it is facing that way, and then we are going to come over here and do the exact opposite. So when this sticky piston extends, these 2 observers are going to be spitting out a signal. Now, on the back side of this one, we are going to put another auto crafter right there, and then the auto crafter is going to feed into a barrel. Now here you can have a couple of choices. You can make a little bit more of a system here to have a backlog of bows, or you can just come in here and put a whole bunch of hoppers feeding right up to this barrel right here. So any bows that are created are going to go right into this barrel and feed down into that chest there. Now, because of the way the system works, we really don't need that many made at any given time, though we could alter this system a little bit in order to have a whole bunch of bows in there. For instance, we could just alternate this with barrel, hopper, barrel, just like that, and we could have a backlog of bows. Not Not really necessary right at this time, but that is one thing that we could do. So, before we go any further from that, I should have made sure my inventory was set up. And that I know how to spell things. So, we are going to come in here. We need to arrange this so that it is creating bows. So we're going to click on these slots right here. And we're just going to go ahead and do this. We're going to put sticks here and string there. So you can see that that is going to create a bow. But we don't want this to activate just now. We need to do a few more things. So off both sides of this, I want you to put one hopper there. And again, you could have as much as you want to fill it up. We are only doing a single chest on these guys. So right there, those are going to feed into the crafter to craft our bows. One of these you need to set up for sticks. We're just going to go ahead and do that right now. And the other side you need to set up for string. Just like that. So this system is completely full. It is ready to go. However, we're not quite done yet. Now, you would notice, because of the way that I did just set that up, that this should technically never run out of anything, or it will run out of both sticks and string at the same time. So we need some building blocks down below because we are going to take a signal from these. So we're going to put comparator right there and a comparator right here. Now this is where things get a little bit tricky because we need these to feed into a redstone torch that is going to be right here. And these need to actually crisscross and feed into a different one. So we are actually going to take a signal right there from that one. I don't want to interfere with that, so we're going to take it off of this block here. As you can see, that does feed, it does feed the signal through, and we are just going to wrap this around in such a way that it will access this one right here. It doesn't matter how this is actually done. That's why I'm not telling you exactly which directions you need to go. The only thing that matters is that each side is turning off the other side's hopper. So how you want to route this redstone here is completely and utterly up to you. It is a little bit of a pain in the butt, though. As you can see, that redstone torch is off, and so is this one. Basically, what that is going to do, once again, is anytime one of these sides is actually empty, it is going to depower the other side, so that if... you can actually kind of demonstrate this a little bit here by doing that. We're just going to make a mess real quick. So now that I've got this in here, alright, so anytime that this hopper is empty, technically this shouldn't allow any items to feed through. So right now that there is no string, and if the string were actually out over here as well, you will see that sticks are not being fed into there, taking up the slot for where the string actually goes. So once I get this right here and we go ahead and fill this in, you will see that it's not working properly. That shouldn't have done that. Actually, yeah, it would have, because there's now string in the system. So really you need to fill up the crafter before you fill up the hopper or the chest. Just an FYI right there. It's a little oversight on my behalf. Okay, so like I said, once you got this all routed and however you want it, because like I said, this is not necessarily the best way to do it. You just have to find a way to power on and off these hoppers here for any time it runs out of string. And we are at some point going to be taking a signal from these guys as well. Same thing as this, we just need that signal to feed off somewhere. Again, however you want it to be routed around in your contraption is up to you. I think what I have done in one of my examples over there is I've actually got the signal feeding down to here. Yeah, somehow the signal's over there. We're not going to worry about that. We're just trying to get the system up and running. So now that we have this going and we have no bows right here, we can go ahead and put this last piece of redstone in here and it will start auto crafting bows for us. Except for a slight mistake right there. That figures. Because we are actually getting this this hopper powered right here. Slight miscalculation. Okay, so as you can see, it did work. We do have a whole bunch of bows in here now, and the system will be working, except for all the little nuances of me not being completely and utterly prepared for this. Alright, so up next, we are going to build the redstone signaling that will turn this into an actual automated system. We need to activate the entire system, which means we need a redstone clock. Now, your clock is not going to be exactly the same as mine. If you're playing in a single player world or if you're playing on a server, you're going to have to finagle this to whatever is actually going to work for you. I am going to show you bare bones basics of what you need to do to set up this auto system as far as the signaling, but you are going to have to figure out what works best for you and adjust accordingly. So the first thing we are going to do is we're going to take a block that feeds right into that note block from earlier, and we are going to put a repeater right there with redstone dust right behind it. Now we are going to go in a clockwise manner and put redstone repeaters all along the flat areas here, or along the edges, except for in the corners. And in the corners, we are going to put redstone dust and these three right here. For this one, we are going to leave that as something else, and I just realized that I actually needed that block. I just deleted it, and I also needed this. There's a reason I had those. So basically what you're going to need to do from here is figure out how it works on your server or in your single player world and adjust the timings accordingly. For now, I am just going to take a guess. We are going to have to adjust this as we go, and we are just going to go ahead and make all of these 4-tick delay on this side. All we're really looking to do is slow down the signals enough that it is getting through this chain of hoppers right here. If the items aren't getting through there fast enough, it's actually going to cause problems with how we are actually putting items into it in order to create dispensers. So again, you are going to have to play with that a little bit and figure out what the best timings are for yourself. So once we have that portion right there, we're actually going to come off over here, and we are going to put redstone dust here with a comparator right there, and then redstone dust here and here, and right through here. Now, alongside that, we are going to put repeaters right here. We are going to put these on a 3-tick delay. All of them, basically what this is going to do is it's going to turn the signal going into this portion right here as a little pulse. And thinking about it, we could actually use an observer. Oh well, I already had you make it. Already had you make that. So now from there, we need to feed the signal into this. I'm going to put a repeater right there and a repeater right here because we got a couple of places we actually need to go off to, and wherever else down that way. This is going to be where the signal is actually coming from, wherever you turned it on. Now, I'm not exactly sure how many spots that is, so we are just going to have to do a little bit of a test real quick. Okay, cool. That is all of that. Yeah, that'll work just fine. We'll actually delete that one there. So, now that we've got that set up right there, I am going to use an observer right here, and we are going to put redstone right there. So that's just going to kick a signal into that block there, which we are going to use to put a regular piston right there and another regular piston right here. And right in front of this one, we are going to put a redstone block. And then on this one, we are going to put a sticky piston facing up. So basically what's going to happen is once this observer sees that it's got a signal, passes a signal to this piston right here, the piston's going to push this redstone block across, which is then going to cause this sticky piston to push its block upwards, thereby completing the connection for this redstone clock right here. So if we go ahead and power this on, you can see that it did in fact pass its signal through there. And we can watch as this begins to power on. And as you can see, it does work fairly well. Now, like I said, because we have to deal with the speed of the hoppers, we do need it to run a little bit slow. And as you could see, the very last spot back here, it is taking a second for the item to get all the way up here. And we're doing it this way because we need to control exactly when the item gets there so that it is put into the proper slot. If we don't do that, if we have like a waterway that is pushing the things into a single hopper that is then feeding it in, we don't have control over exactly where in the crafter it is going. So it is very important that we get that to be somewhat slow. Okay, so now that we've got this system set up, now we need to set up the system that automatically turns everything off. Which includes this, because apparently I didn't think to go ahead and install that. Alright, now that we have the redstone put in that is actually going to activate the entire system, now we need to put in the redstone that is going to deactivate the entire system, regardless of rhyme or reason. So whatever item it is that we are out of, it needs to turn off the system from there, and a few other things. So the first thing we are going to do is this little redstone contraption or redstone circuit over here that is going to turn the farm off when you turn the farm off. Makes sense? Yeah, let's get into it. We are having a little bit of fun because I had to go about redesigning this because it's changed in 1.21. I don't know why that happens, but it does. Anyway, so off of this redstone signal right here, well, before we get going, we do need to deactivate this. So I've removed the redstone block that was here, and we have removed a repeater that was right there. That is just so we can set up the rest of this, because I was noticing that I was triggering the system anytime I went to place blocks. Something weird with these observers here, but it's fine. It should work just the same. So off of this block right here, we are going to put a repeater facing into that. And then on the back side of this, we are going to put a torch. So basically this torch is going to be active whenever the system is not active, and it's going to be deactivated whenever the system is actually on. And we'll show you here in a second what that is for. So along this line here, we are just going to add redstone right through here in these spots here. So right here on this block, we are going to put a comparator, much like we did up here. This is going to be the exact same. Only we are going to go ahead and put this on 4-tick delay for all of these. And what this is going to do is it's going to trigger this piston right here, which is going to push the redstone block back across anytime we turn the system off. But it is not going to keep this this piston permanently extended, which means that we've got the redstone block bouncing back and forth from section to section, from spot to spot. We can actually demonstrate that real quick. So if you watch up there, you're going to see when I turn it on that the redstone block's going to be pushed across. This block's going to be pushed up, and our signal is going to start looping all around. Yep, see, there it goes. The signal is looping. Again, I have disabled it so it is not activating the redstone to create dispensers. So now with that redstone block there, we need a way to get it back across. That's what this circuit is for. So now that I turn the redstone off, you'll see that this redstone activating this piston, which pushes the redstone block back across. From there, it's just a simple matter of being able to activate that piston to turn off the system anytime we run out of any of the materials. And that's what all these torches are going to do for us right here. Except for the one for bows. We don't really need to worry about the bows. So yeah, we're just going to take a line of redstone from up here where we are detecting any of these redstone torches on, and we are just going to run it down and into this observer right here, which is going to activate that piston. So I can somewhat demonstrate this. We're just going to simulate this. We're going to put a torch right there to kind of give you an idea of what is going to happen. So this, right now the system is on. System is running, it's working, it's creating dispensers. Now, we've run out of something, say it's cobblestone or anything, which is going to be simulated by me flicking the switch. Okay? So now it activates this, and that observer sees it, which activates this piston, pushing the redstone block back across, which deactivates this piston, which blocks the next signal going through, which means that we are not still crafting anything if we run out of any given item. So that is how that works right there. And from here, we also need to get this fed into this line right here. So again, it's completely up to you on how you want these signals to get fed into one another and where you actually want them to go. This does not have to be the on-off switch. You can have the on-off anywhere you want. This does not have to be where your interface is. It's just that we are taking the signal for the interface off right here. So that is pretty much all you need. Let's go ahead and put that back right there. This is pretty much all you need in order to make an auto crafting dispenser setup, or anything else that requires multiple items in a very specific pattern. And you can use this system to make pretty much any other item in the game, including armor or armor stands, dispensers, droppers, pistons, sticky pistons, you name it. This system is capable of doing it. Albeit it's going to be a little bit slower. There are systems out there that are a lot faster. However, even with what I've demonstrated here, if you try and speed up the process, it is going to break something. We did have a little bit of fun there for a minute with things not working properly. So now that we've got this, I can go ahead and shut this off. Which, that block being there is fine. We will worry about that in a second. And we can go ahead and activate this and just watch it create a whole bunch of dispensers for us. So I'm going to do that here in a second, and we are going to just have a little bit of a time lapse of that chest down there getting filled up while I try and take care of some other business. I've got some phone calls to make. Round two. Don't you love it when you get through monologuing and you realize that your mic's not on? Yeah, that just happened. Anyway, so as you saw there, the system automatically kicked itself off and we stopped crafting dispensers. I'm assuming that is because we ran out of bows. I'm not entirely sure if that's what kicked it off, but that does seem to be what happened. You can see that this line is on, so technically the farm should be on, but this redstone block has been pushed over. The only evidence of why the system would have kicked off that I can find is where the bows are at right now. So I got a feeling that the system got kicked off because we were low on bows. It then crafted some bows, and we kind of missed that. No big deal. It is what it is, and we did manage to make a full stack and 28 dispensers before we ran out of bows. Now, with that being said, we could also change the redstone a little bit and potentially have be taking the signal for the redstone off right here. Potentially, maybe even up here, we come to this one here, and that way we've got a little bit of an extra storage for how many bows we are actually creating and sending into the system. It just really depends on where you want that to go, but at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. The system did what it was supposed to. It cut itself off before anything got messed up. So, yeah, that is pretty much how it works. And I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and I hope you use this auto crafting dispenser setup in your own worlds. I would love to hear about it. I'd love to see it. And, you know, give me a little bit of a shout out if you end up using this contraption that I have created. You know, I've really enjoyed it. And I really hope you guys enjoyed it, so please leave a like if you do. Think about subscribing, it would really help my channel out. We are 56 subscribers strong, and I do want to give a shout out to all 56 subscribers that I do have. You guys have been amazing, and this is still like the early days of this channel, so hopefully we can start growing sometime in the future and get to the point where we can actually do this a little more often. We can't really do that right now. So, with that being said, guys, I'll see you later, and I hope you have a great day. I've had a wonderful time doing this and recording for you today. So, yeah, I will see you guys later. Enjoy.